Okay, so here we're on to the next part of this thing. Let's see, maybe I'll try a little more light on this, see if that helps out. But um, so I haven't made myself any V blocks yet. So what I came up with in the meantime, I think that's going to help. I decided to just use a couple of chunks of aluminum. I think they're going to grip the sides of this, uh, the body of this thing fairly well here. So, okay. Anyways, oh, let me get the cutter in first. I've got myself a 1/4 inch 4-flute cutter. That should do a fairly good job for me on this. I'm just going to kind of eyeball or line everything up by eyeball, because I'm not really building anything to aerospace standards anyways. It should be plenty good for what I'm doing here. So I'm going to drop this guy in here, and it just so happens that I'll be able to use the little tip on this thing to help me align where I want the groove cut. So I'll help get my Y-axis set up using the little tip that I've got here, and then I'll get it leveled out this way pretty much by eye also. And then I'll snug it up and start cutting a 1/4 inch groove in there. Let's start getting it situated here. It's not too far off at the moment. It is off. A little high on this far side here. Alright, I think that's pretty close in that regard. Yes, okay. I'd say that's fairly close. Still a little bit high on one side than the other, but I don't think it's going to be enough of an issue to matter. What's a couple thousandths of an inch on a fly cutter, really? Okay, so now I'm going to try and get my Y set up fairly reasonably. And for this, I'm going to use a little magnifying glass. To help me get there. I would say that should be pretty good. I should be just off center to the back side of this thing. Let's bring you guys in a little bit closer. I don't think you can really see real well what's going on there. There, still not the clearest with the light in the background. How about on the side? Yeah, that'll be a little better. Okay, so I think I've got my Y set pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and lock the Y down, and I should be good to go. I'm going to drop my quill down to where it's scratching. And I'm going to start to dial in some depth on my Z. About 30 thousandths. Alright, let's see what happens here. Okay, let's see what it's doing. I think we're off to a good start here. Okay, I'm going to keep plugging away at it. Dialing up another 30 thousandths. I think this is going to work out pretty well like this. I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to keep plugging away at this until I get this down to about a 1/4 inch of depth. And then I need to figure out how I'm going to get the holes bored in the side and what size set screws or fasteners or hardware I'm going to have to actually secure a piece of high-speed steel in this thing. So instead of boring you guys to tears, I'm going to hit the pause button on this and I'm going to keep plugging away until I've got this thing down, and then I'll bring you back when I'm set up to do something else a little bit more interesting. Assuming I can actually hit the pause button with my rubber glove. Okay, so now I've got my 1/4" groove cut in there, and it's a pretty darn tight fit. And you can kind of see what I was doing as far as clocking it in correctly this way. I'm just kind of using a little piece of metal and getting on the underside of the lip here. It's not perfect, but it's going to be perfect enough for my needs here. And as far as getting it straight this way, there again, I've just eyeballed it back and forth, and you can even kind of see, well, maybe you can see, I put a pretty deep scratch in it right there, because I didn't have it perfectly square at first. So anyways, since I've got this cutter that's almost 1/4 inch wide, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get a counterbore hole started here and on the opposite side. I still don't know yet as to what size exactly I'm going to use for the screws that are going to secure the actual cutter, but I know it's not going to be bigger than 1/4 inch, so I'll start with that, and then once I get done with this video, I'll figure out what size I'm going to drill and tap this to. Anyways, the only other thing I got to do now is get this lined up with the front edge of the cutter here. Actually, maybe I'm almost thinking the 1/4 inch would be too big, but it'll be fine. It'll do what I need it to do. Needless to say, I didn't put a lot of planning into this. I'm just kind of winging it, so it will be what it'll be. And it's just a fly cutter, so it's not like the most complicated device on the face of the earth. Okay, that should be back just far enough. Let's see here. All right, well, we'll give that a try and see how that works out. Bring the Z-axis up just a little bit more. And up a little more. I like where that's going to turn out. So now I've just got to bring the cutter around to the other side. Let's see here. No DRO, so I just kind of, there again, got to eyeball this. Just kind of like to keep my depth the same. Okay, that should be pretty close. And now I'll just move the X in until I get approximately the same thing on this side. Okay, I think I got that situated pretty well. So, since we're at about almost 18 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and pop it out and kind of show you where I'm at with this thing. Because you guys can pretty well figure out the rest of it from here. Drill holes, tap, put in some sort of set screw, and voila, it's a fly cutter. So, let me back the camera up a little bit so I got a little room to work here. And then I'll just reset this up when I figure out what screws I have at my disposal to make good set screws for this. Fits my 1/4 inch high-speed steel pretty darn snugly. There it is. So I might need to fine-tune that a little bit more, but at any rate, it's becoming a fly cutter. So once I figure out what screw sizes I have available to, and taps I have available to get these 2 set screws in, I will do that and it'll be done. So anyways, there's no reason to waste any more time boring you guys to tears. I think you pretty well all get the idea of it there. So I'm going to end the video there and upload this, and maybe the next time I do a video you'll actually see the completed fly cutter. So until next time.